a piece of advice that we could apply to our lives immediately. Like I said weeks before, this word wisdom that comes from the book of Proverbs is not logical reasoning or intellectual knowledge, but this is applicable knowledge. That word wisdom means applicable knowledge, knowledge that we could apply to our lives immediately once we read it and get into it. I believe this word is going to encourage us and remind us to be more like Christ and less like our past or former selves. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Welcome to midweek service. Write down in the group chat right now, write down in the chat, write down Proverbs chapter 12, verse 18. Verse 18. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget to join us live tomorrow at 6:30 for prayer. Pastor Brian is bringing in a word that's going to encourage us and build us up. But let's get into this proverb. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 18. It says this: some people make cutting remarks, but the words of the wise bring healing. Y'all, this is a word. Listen. Some people make cutting remarks, but the words of the wise bring healing. I want to start off with this question: what am I bringing to the table? Ask yourself that. What am I bringing to the table? Am I bringing cutting remarks or am I bringing healing? The Bible tells us right here in this Proverbs that wise people produce healing, that wise people bring healing. So I'm assuming just on reading this that unwise people hurt people. And I don't know about you, but the Bible tells us in Ephesians that God has given us a spirit of wisdom, which tells me that I'm supposed to be bringing healing to the table. So the question I want to ask you is that, what are you bringing to the table? Are you practicing the wisdom that God has given you to produce healing, or are you practicing the acts or the works of the flesh that produce hurt in people? This proverb we could apply by our lives by simply being wise enough to be the healing, to bring the healing word that people need. I think that's one of the most overlooked things we have as human beings is how we present ourselves and what we bring to the table. I believe most of the time we forget, whether by culture or by life circumstances or by the busyness of life, we forget the power in our tongue. We forget the power that is in our mouth. And what I love about this proverb here, 18, that it reminds us, I'm either cutting with my words or am I healing with my words? So I want to encourage you this evening, what are you doing with your words? Are you being wise and bringing healing, or are you being unwise and hurting? I know for me, I'm always got to be on check because I'm a jokester. I come around and joke, and then I come around and mess around, but just I love making people smile. So it's just a natural thing in me that I just love seeing people smile. And sometimes my personality, if I joke in the wrong situation unknowingly, I might hurt somebody. So I have to ask myself, am I behaving in wisdom, and am I producing healing to people, or am I letting my optimism or my personality get out of pocket at times and hurt people? You got to ask yourself the same question: am I producing healing or hurt for people? The reason I spoke about myself is because it's myself. I could be honest enough with myself and be like, hey, this I mess up sometimes. This is what happens to me sometimes, But I want to encourage you with that. Ask yourself that question: am I producing cutting remarks or am I producing healing? Because the Bible says that if I am wise, I'm producing healing. And like I tell all my youth kids, like I used to tell them back in when I was a youth pastor, was you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you speak. Be wise enough to heal people, because wise people bring healing to the table. So I want to encourage you this week with that word. Be wise enough to bring healing. Because it says it right there, verse 18, some people make cutting remarks. Ask yourself that question. If I may making cutting remarks. Matter of fact, spouses, ask your spouse that question. Have I been making cutting remarks? Have I been making cutting remarks? And let's be real, if they say yes or no, be like, hey, I apologize. God has called me to be wise to produce healing and bring healing to the table. Marriage counseling 101. Ask your spouse, am I been making cutting remarks? I apologize if I have. I've been trying to walk out wisdom. The Bible says God has given us a spirit of wisdom and of revelation. I have been giving you this revelation that if you want to be wise, you need to start producing healing with your words and not hurt with your words. Be wise enough to produce healing and wise enough to not hurt with your words. I want to encourage you with that. Remember, you are a product of what you choose to do. You're not a product of your environment, you're a product of your decision. You decide what to utter, so you have to accept what you reap. So decide to bring healing and decide to leave hurt, because God